Izumi was the guy who seemed to carry a cloud of bad luck over his head. His life was an endless sequence of stumbles, falls, and situations that went wrong. But everything changed when Shikimori, the hottest and most popular girl in school, with a smile capable of making anyone fall in love, decided to date him. She wasn't just the dream girlfriend, but also a true guardian, always ready to protect him from the traps his bad luck insisted on throwing in his path, just to make sure the warm moments between them remained alive. It was the first day of the school year, and Moko, Izumi's mother, woke him up with a playful little push. "Get up already, Izumi. With your wonderful luck, you might not even make it to the front gate," she said, half laughing, half worried. Izumi, with his optimistic way, gave a crooked smile and left. But as soon as he stepped onto the street, he tripped on a rock and nearly crashed onto the ground. As if that wasn't enough, a truck flew by so close that the wind messed up his hair. And to complete the chaotic morning, a little bird decided to aim a surprise right at his head. Izumi dodged by a miracle, but ended up slipping again, falling face first on the sidewalk. Even with all of this, Izumi's heart was made of gold. On the way, he stopped to help an old lady cross the street, with a smile that hid the scratches and frustration. When he met Shikimori, with her pink hair shining under the sun and a smile that seemed to calm even the worst of days, Izumi felt his chest warm up. She immediately noticed the marks on his face and, with a worried look, asked what had happened. Izumi shrugged, already used to the daily disasters. As they walked together to school, he looked at her and thought, "Shikimori is beautiful, but she's not always that cute." The problem? He didn't just think it, he accidentally said it out loud. Shikimori pouted, clearly hurt, and the atmosphere grew tense. Suddenly, as if the universe wanted to make everything worse, that same truck came back, looking determined to hit Izumi head-on. But Shikimori, quick as lightning, jumped in front of him, pulling him out of danger as if it were her life's mission. Izumi apologized for the comment, but she stared at him firmly and said, "Never apologize for that, you hear me?" At that moment, Izumi felt a mix of admiration and insecurity, wondering if a clumsy guy like him really deserved someone so amazing. At school, anxiety took over as Izumi and Shikimori checked the class lists. He hoped with all his strength to be in the same class as her. Shikimori, with her not-so-good eyesight, struggled to read the board, but Izumi, with his eagle eyes, quickly found both of their names on the same list. Joy was immediate, and they celebrated with a big smile. Nekozaki and Kamiya, Shikimori's friends, also cheered when they found out they were in the same class. To make things better, Inuzuka, Izumi's best friend, was there too, which left the boy even more excited. As the boys walked to the classroom, Izumi looked back and caught Shikimori doing a discreet victory dance. When she noticed he was looking, she turned red like a tomato, dying of embarrassment. In the classroom, Izumi's bad luck decided to show up again. A student who was cleaning the board dropped the eraser, and of course the thing flew straight toward Izumi's head. Shikimori, always alert, tried to protect him, but ended up taking the hit on her forehead instead. She laughed, saying it was fine, but Izumi, with a worried look, touched her head gently and let out a compliment so sincere that Shikimori was left flustered, running out of the room to compose herself. While she was gone, some classmates began to tease Izumi, saying he didn't deserve such an amazing girl like Shikimori, and that his bad luck would only get in her way. From the hallway, Shikimori heard it all. She came back to the classroom with a sharp look that made the boys shiver. Without saying a word, she grabbed Izumi by the hand and led him out of the room. In the hallway, with a firm yet tender voice, she said, "Don't listen to what those guys say, okay? You're more than that." Izumi nodded, but deep down, a pang of fear made him question if he might end up hurting Shikimori just by being who he was. After class, Inuzuka invited Izumi to hang out, and he agreed right away, excited to enjoy time with his best friend. When he went to tell Shikimori, he found out she was also going out with Nekozaki and Kamiya. In the end, the plan turned into a group outing, with the couple and 3 third wheels tagging along. They decided to go bowling, and Inuzuka and Nekozaki quickly started a silly bet. Whoever lost would have to buy whatever food the other wanted. Izumi and Shikimori, who weren't that great at bowling, kept to themselves, just enjoying the moment. When Shikimori tied her hair up, showing her neck, Izumi got so nervous he ran off to grab a bowling ball, trying to cover it up. While the boys were busy, Nekozaki and Kamiya whispered to Shikimori, suggesting she pretend to be terrible at the game to seem cute and defenseless. The match began, and Inuzuka barely beat Nekozaki in a match full of laughs. But the one who stole the show was Kamiya, who rolled the slowest ball in history and, against all odds, scored a perfect strike, leaving everyone stunned. Shikimori, initially tempted to follow her friend's plan, changed her mind when Izumi encouraged her to give her best. She then focused, went all out, and nailed strike after strike as if she were a pro. The crowd at the bowling alley applauded, but Shikimori only had eyes for one person, Izumi. His smile, full of pride and admiration, was all she needed. After dominating at bowling, Shikimori gave Izumi an excited high five, showing who was really in charge of the relationship. When the group said their goodbyes, each going their own way, Izumi wanted to do something special to celebrate her epic victory, but Shikimori, with a simple smile, only asked him to walk her home. Izumi agreed immediately, all giddy. On the way, a gust of wind sent a newspaper flying straight at his face, but Shikimori, as always, was faster and blocked the attack. Izumi, embarrassed, apologized for dragging her into his unlucky messes. This time, Shikimori was truly upset with the apology. "Stop that, Izumi. I'm already used to your bad luck," she said, with a tone that was firm yet caring. Izumi felt relieved, but a pang of guilt still weighed on his chest. In a moment of honesty, he confessed that sometimes he thought others were right when they said he was a burden in her life. Shikimori stopped walking immediately, with a serious look. Before she could answer, a store sign suddenly came crashing down, aiming at Izumi. With a precise kick, she deflected the sign and saved her boyfriend once again. Grabbing his hand tightly, she looked him in the eyes and said, "Stay with me, Izumi. I'll always protect you, no matter what others say." Izumi's heart melted, and without thinking, he let out an "I love you" so spontaneous that Shikimori went into panic mode, trying not to explode with happiness as her face turned red like a tomato. Days later, the school was buzzing with a sports tournament. The boys would play soccer and the girls volleyball. Izumi was excited to join, but Inuzuka, with his straightforward way, threw a bucket of cold water on him. "Dude, with your bad luck, someone might tackle you and send your head into space." Right then, Shikimori showed up, as beautiful as always, with a charm that sent Izumi to the clouds. She asked about the time of his game, but Izumi still didn't know. Together, they went to check the schedule on the board. He was already all excited to cheer for Shikimori in the volleyball match like the supportive boyfriend he was, but the excitement quickly died when they discovered their games would be at the same time, which meant they couldn't cheer for each other. Shikimori seemed to handle it well, but admitted she was a little nervous since the opposing team had a very strong player. Trying to encourage her, Izumi spoke words so sincere and tender that Shikimori's face lit up in flames, completely melting. On the soccer field, the game had barely started when Izumi already took a nasty fall in the first play, courtesy of his classic bad luck. On the sidelines, Shikimori tried to send lucky vibes to her boyfriend. For a moment, it seemed to work. Izumi had a golden chance to score a goal. But as if the gods of bad luck were laughing at him, when he went to kick, he hit the air and fell face first onto the ground. Shikimori, watching everything, didn't know whether to laugh or despair at her disaster-prone boyfriend. As Izumi got up, brushing the grass off his clothes, a ball came flying out of nowhere, hitting him straight on and knocking him down unconscious. When he woke up, he was already in the infirmary, with Shikimori by his side, worried. He immediately felt guilty and asked if she was going to miss her volleyball match because of him. With a sweet smile, she assured him there was still time. Then, in a lighter moment, she began playing with his hair, noticing a scar above his eyebrow. Curious, she asked about it. Izumi, a little embarrassed, admitted he had several scars all over his body, all courtesy of his constant bad luck. Shikimori laughed, saying nothing about him surprised her anymore, but soon grew serious, confessing how much she worried. "Stay close to me always, okay?" she asked, making Izumi feel almost as if he were the girlfriend in the relationship. Trying to regain a bit of pride, he said he could protect her too. Shikimori paused, flashed a teasing smile, climbed onto the bed, and came face to face with him, leaving him red as a pepper. "And your volleyball game?" he stammered, trying to change the subject. She laughed, joking that maybe she'd rather stay there, hiding under the blanket with him. Izumi almost had a heart attack at the tease, and Shikimori, laughing, finally left. But as soon as she closed the door, she turned red, wondering how she even had the courage to do that. Meanwhile, the volleyball game had started, and Shikimori's team was getting crushed, mainly because of Kamiya, the star of the opposing team. On the other side, Izumi went back to the soccer field and found Inuzuka crying over their team's loss. Trying to cheer up his friend, he suggested they go root for the volleyball team. When they got there, they saw that things weren't looking good. Their school's team was losing badly, and Kamiya, who should have been leading the cheering, wasn't helping at all. When Izumi saw Shikimori, he didn't think twice and shouted encouragement so loud it was like he was cheering for a World Cup goal. That lit a spark in Shikimori, who started playing with insane energy, as if she had switched to turbo mode. During the game, Izumi noticed Kamiya and was surprised. Inuzuka, curious, asked if he knew her. Izumi confirmed he knew Kamiya, but didn't give details, leaving the subject hanging. Thanks to Shikimori's burst of energy, the volleyball team turned the game around and won, making the entire class erupt in celebration. Izumi ran to her, full of pride, to congratulate her like the devoted boyfriend he was. Kamiya discreetly walked away from the crowd. Back in class, everyone praised Shikimori for her amazing performance, and Izumi, chest puffed with admiration, congratulated her again. She, with a shy smile, said she only managed it because of his cheering in the stands. Izumi laughed, complimenting her athletic skills, but confessed, a little embarrassed, that he couldn't hold a candle to her, especially after being knocked out at the start of the soccer match. Shikimori, with a tender look, said he gave his best and looked adorable trying. Her words left Izumi red-faced, not knowing where to hide. Suddenly, a group of girls stormed into the classroom, asking for selfies and autographs from Shikimori, who looked like a true star. That's when Izumi realized his girlfriend was practically a celebrity at school, almost like she was everyone's girlfriend. In the following days, the girls kept surrounding Shikimori, wanting attention, and even Nekozaki started attracting her own fan club. Izumi, watching all this, started to feel like he was losing space with her. He vented to Inuzuka, who tried to calm him down, saying it was all in his head. But right then, a ball came flying out of nowhere toward Izumi. Inuzuka, quick, pushed his friend to save him and ended up taking the hit himself. Izumi was devastated, feeling guilty that his bad luck had hurt his best friend. While he tried to help Inuzuka, Shikimori watched from afar and, due to a misunderstanding, started imagining that Izumi might be interested in boys. Jealousy hit her hard, and her fans, seeing her sulky face, were charmed by the fierce, jealous Shikimori look. After class, Izumi walked home, carrying a weight in his chest. On top of Inuzuka getting hurt and going home with a broken arm, other mishaps had happened because of his bad luck. Lost in thought, he slipped on the stairs and almost crashed. Shikimori, as always, appeared just in time and caught him. A little annoyed, she scolded, "Why are you going home alone, Izumi?" He, downcast, explained that he didn't want to bother her since she was so popular. Shikimori looked at him as if he just said the dumbest thing in the world and firmly said, "You're the only one I want by my side to walk home with, got it?" That lit a spark of joy in Izumi's chest. But, half joking, half serious, she accused him of spending too much time with Inuzuka. He laughed with his awkward way and said he missed her. The simple words made Shikimori's tough girl act melt instantly, leaving her all flustered. A few days later in the classroom, Inuzuka, always the best friend, gave Izumi 2 movie tickets he had gotten from a coworker. When Izumi asked why he wasn't using them, Inuzuka said he didn't have time before the tickets expired and suggested Izumi keep one and give the other to whoever he wanted. Shikimori, who was nearby, listened with a slightly awkward look, clearly wanting to be invited but too shy to say anything. When Inuzuka left, Izumi walked over to her desk and, a little nervous, asked if she wanted to go to the movies with him. Before he could even finish the sentence, Shikimori blurted out a yes so fast that they both laughed. That night, at home, Izumi was bursting with excitement over the date. Sitting in his room, he thought about how amazing it was to go out with Shikimori. But he soon remembered their last outing, when his bad luck brought a torrential rainstorm and he lost his wallet. Even then, Shikimori smiled the whole time. This time, he was determined to make everything go right. He started packing a bag with everything he might need, even tied a cord to his wallet so he wouldn't lose it again. But in the end, the bag got so heavy he fell trying to carry it. Meanwhile, at Shikimori's house, she flipped through a fashion magazine, trying to find the perfect look to appear effortlessly cute. She tried on several outfits, but nothing seemed good enough. Her older brother, hearing the fuss, walked into the room and asked what was going on. She said she was going to the movies with a friend the next day, but when he wanted to know who that friend was that had her so worked up, Shikimori told him to mind his own business. He shrugged, wished her good luck, and left. On the day of the date, Izumi left home early, but left the bag behind because the strap broke right as he was leaving. He faced some mishaps along the way, nothing new for him, and when he arrived, he saw Shikimori already waiting. Surprised she had gotten there first, he ran to her, and seeing her up close, he was speechless. "You look so beautiful," he said, completely enchanted. On the train, Izumi's imagination ran wild. He daydreamed about the two of them watching a romantic anime, even imagining a kiss between them when the characters on screen kissed. Shikimori noticed his red face and asked, worried if he was feeling sick. Izumi, flustered, assured her it was just excitement for the date. At the theater, they started deciding on a movie. Izumi asked what she wanted to watch, but Shikimori said she didn't mind. He insisted kindly that this time she should choose because she always put him first, and he wanted to know more about her tastes. Blushing, Shikimori pointed to a poster of a horror movie that had gotten great reviews on social media. Izumi was shocked, horror, but agreed, wanting to make the day special for her. Even though he wasn't a fan of horror movies, Izumi saw it as a chance to act brave in case Shikimori got scared. But when the movie started, things went south. It was such a cheesy version it looked like it was bought on clearance. Instead of being the hero, Izumi trembled in his seat, completely terrified. Shikimori, noticing his state, held his hand gently, and he clutched back, relieved. When the movie ended, Izumi was still shaken, and Shikimori apologized for picking something so scary. He, with a sheepish smile, thanked her. "If you hadn't held my hand, I would have passed out from fear." He added, kind of silly but sincere, "With you by my side, I feel stronger." Shikimori laughed, amused by his honesty. Afterward, they decided to eat and went to a fancy restaurant in the city. Shikimori saw a dish that looked amazing but was expensive. Izumi, all confident, said he had saved money just for that day. But when it was time to pay, the worst happened. The wallet was gone. The cord he had tied so he wouldn't lose it had snapped. Devastated, Izumi left the restaurant with a heavy heart, thinking he had ruined everything. Shikimori, as always, was an angel, saying it was no problem and keeping the mood light. At that moment, they bumped into Izumi's parents, who asked where they were going. He, downcast, explained the wallet fiasco. His parents, already used to their son's bad luck, weren't surprised. To save the night, they invited Shikimori to have dinner at their house, and she accepted with a smile. At Izumi's house, dinner was served, and Shikimori kept thanking them. But of course, Izumi's bad luck didn't give a break. A fork flew across the table, aiming at his face. Shikimori, with ninja reflexes, caught the fork in the air, saving her boyfriend once again. Izumi's parents were stunned and started clapping, impressed. They piled her plate with food, saying she was welcome anytime, leaving Shikimori all flustered. After dinner, while helping Izumi's mother wash the dishes, the conversation turned more serious. The mother thanked Shikimori for staying by her son's side and started telling stories about how Izumi always got hurt as a child, almost as if he were competing to see who could take the most hits from life. Joking, she said she hoped Shikimori wouldn't lose patience with him and warned that dating Izumi meant sharing a bit of his bad luck. Shikimori, with a gentle look, replied that yes, Izumi attracted accidents, but that was never a flaw to her. He is kind, always thinks of others before himself, even when everything goes wrong. He is strong, not weak, and I'll protect him just as much as he protects me. Her words left Izumi's mother speechless, her eyes welling with tears. Later, Izumi, who had dozed off on the couch, woke up to find Shikimori in a heated boxing game on the video console against his father. The two were so into it they looked like pros, and the match ended in a tie. Izumi's father gave her a pat on the shoulder, praising her skill, and Izumi's heart warmed watching the two get along so well. As he walked Shikimori home, he apologized for the day not going as planned. She smiled, telling him not to worry, and asked what kind of movie he liked, suggesting they plan another trip to the theater soon. Days later, the summer heat arrived in full force, and the crew started planning their vacation. Shikimori showed up out of nowhere and handed an ice-cold water bottle to Izumi, saying with a smile, "Stay hydrated, okay? I don't want you getting sick in this heat." The gesture left Izumi melting, his heart beating faster. Kamiya, always helpful, offered an umbrella to protect him from the sun, and Nekozaki teased Shikimori, saying she looked jealous. Shikimori didn't even blink, keeping her composure. Nekozaki suggested that everyone go to the beach during vacation, and Shikimori, Nekozaki, and Inuzuka were thrilled with the idea. Izumi and Kamiya, on the other hand, preferred winter and wanted to stay home. Izumi understood Shikimori's excitement, but felt a bit left out. Every time he went to the beach, he ended up roasted by the sun and spent the day hiding under the umbrella. That's when Inuzuka, being the best friend as always, suggested swapping the beach for a hangout at the river, thinking of Izumi's well-being and the risk of him turning into a burnt shrimp. Izumi insisted he didn't want to be treated differently, But the group reinforced that the plan was to choose a place where everyone could have fun. They asked Kamiya what she thought, and she, with her somewhat lazy vibe, said she preferred to stay home, turn on the air conditioner, and relax. But she also warned, somewhat worried, that the river could be dangerous for Izumi with that darn bad luck of his. Shikimori, confident as always, gave a little smile and said, "Relax, I'll be there to save him." A few days later, the test schedule came out, and Nekozaki quickly used that as an excuse to drag the group to the mall. She said it was for a study session, but when they arrived, she revealed the real reason, to buy swimwear for the river hangout. Inuzuka complained on the spot, saying only a crazy person wears a Speedo or a bikini to go to the river. Nekozaki got mad, but he shot back that they should be studying, not shopping. Meanwhile, Shikimori pulled Izumi aside and asked very quietly if he was going to swim. The question froze Izumi on the spot. He had flashbacks of epic disasters in rivers, complete with slips and falls. "I think I'll pass," he answered quickly. Shikimori gave a dramatic look with a teasing smile and said, "What a shame. I was dying to see you showing off your physique." Izumi turned red, not knowing where to put his face. Then, she let slip that if he wasn't going to swim, she didn't need a bikini either. Nekozaki and Kamiya, who heard everything, rolled their eyes and left, leaving the couple with Inuzuka. With the group split, Shikimori started thinking about what to do, until she caught Izumi staring at a poster of a model in a tiny bikini. Jealousy hit hard, and she, pretending, moved away quickly, leaving Izumi confused. Instead of leaving, Shikimori went straight to the swimwear section and grabbed the very same bikini from the poster, holding it with trembling hands. Just then, Nekozaki and Kamiya showed up. Nekozaki widened her eyes and started teasing, "Trying to become a magazine cover, huh?" Shikimori, red as a pepper, tried to explain, saying she only grabbed it because she saw Izumi looking at the poster. The two friends laughed, saying that only proved how competitive Shikimori was. She was confused, and Nekozaki decided to tell a story. When she met Shikimori, she thought she was beautiful and elegant, wanted to be friends, but it wasn't easy. Shikimori was different from her, who thought of herself as tall, a bit clumsy, and sloppy. When they started dating, Shikimori and Izumi were always glued together, which made it even harder. During a basketball game among the girls in the class, Nekozaki wanted to take it lightly, but Shikimori played for real, making basket after basket. Frustrated, Nekozaki stole the ball and made a three-point shot, proving she was a tough match. The two competed until the end, and after Nekozaki won, she invited Shikimori to lunch, and that's how their friendship was born. Back at the mall, Shikimori was surprised by the story. Before she could respond, Nekozaki pushed her into the fitting room, saying they were going to help choose the perfect bikini. In quanto mediamente, Izumi and Inuzuka were at a cafe, struggling with math problems. When the girls came back, Shikimori's face was so red it looked like she'd done something forbidden. Izumi, curious, asked why she looked like that, and she, trying to play it off, said it was nothing, that she hadn't bought anything. But the guilty little smile gave away that there was something there. The next day, after the exams, Izumi was walking home with Shikimori, a bit down. Bad luck had hit hard again. All his pens broke during the test. Shikimori tried to cheer him up, but the day only got worse when a random dog barked at him as if he were a bandit. That night, lying in bed with his head buried in the pillow, Izumi wondered what he'd done in another life to deserve so much suffering. Until the phone rang. It was Shikimori. She knew he was in the dumps and said she just wanted to hear his voice. Right away, Izumi felt lighter. He went to the window and asked her to look at the North Star shining in the sky. When she asked if he liked stargazing, he said yes, but confessed that as a child, every time he went out with his father to look at the stars, it rained because of his endless bad luck. Shikimori promised that one day she would take him to a place with a sky full of stars. Izumi, surprising her, said he wanted to take her to a place of her choosing. When she asked why, he answered, heart in hand, "You always do everything for me. Now I want to do something just for you." Shikimori went quiet for a second, then said she didn't have a specific place in mind. Izumi misunderstood, thinking she didn't want to go anywhere with him, but she quickly clarified, "I want to go where you want, because seeing you happy is what makes me happiest." Shikimori's words made Izumi break down in tears, moved. With a soft voice, she said it was time to sleep. Izumi, still sniffling, confessed that hearing her voice made him feel much better and that he wanted so much to see her right then. Shikimori, feeling her face catch fire, hung up quickly, before she exploded with embarrassment. Throwing herself on the bed, heart racing and butterflies in her stomach, she kicked the covers, smiling to herself. She whispered to herself that she wanted to see him too, feeling her chest warm. A week later, with the exams finished, Izumi and the gang set off for the long-awaited river hangout. When they arrived, everyone was shocked. Izumi's bad luck hadn't ruined anything this time. Excitement took over, and everyone wanted to jump into the water. But Inuzuka and Nekozaki decided to start with a barbecue, while the others watched as if they were wild animals. When it was time to prepare the food, Inuzuka, full of confidence, grabbed an onion and started cutting like a TV chef. But it was a total disaster. The girls quickly told him to sit down and keep quiet. Then, Izumi picked up the knife, and everyone held their breath, thinking he was going to cut himself or cause a catastrophe. To everyone's surprise, he chopped the onion with the precision of a master chef. "I always help my parents in the kitchen," he explained, a little embarrassed. Shikimori melted, already imagining her boyfriend as a future husband who knows how to cook. Inuzuka joked that those skills could make Izumi popular, but Shikimori shot a "shut up" so sharp he swallowed his words. While everyone prepared the skewers and lit the charcoal, Shikimori, discreetly, was doing something on the side. When the food was ready, she handed Izumi a special plate she had prepared just for him. Izumi, all happy, took a bite and fell to his knees, choking, as if he had seen the light at the end of the tunnel. Shikimori tasted it and collapsed too, face to the ground. Everyone realized right away she was a disaster in the kitchen. Even so, Izumi, with his huge heart, took another bite, saying he would eat it because it was from her. Shikimori, with her competitive spirit on fire, swore she would learn to cook properly just for him. After the food, the crew wanted something sweet, and Izumi, like a true chef, pulled some homemade s'mores out of his sleeve. Everyone was impressed with the creativity, and he whispered in Shikimori's ear that he wanted to put that creamy s'more in her mouth. She, quick as ever, devoured the treat and, with a teasing look, said she'd love to eat his sweet and creamy s'mores every day. Izumi almost had a fit at her response. Before they went to the river, Shikimori asked, softly, that he make more s'mores in the future, but only for the two of them, without sharing with anyone. At the riverbank, the gang threw themselves into the water, having fun and splashing around. Shikimori, a little nervous, was thinking about showing her new bikini to Izumi. Meanwhile, the others teased them and called the couple to join the fun. Suddenly, Izumi saw a little girl being pulled by the current, screaming for her mother. Without thinking, he dove in to save her. The girl, in a panic, slapped him in the face, but Izumi calmed her down and used her float to swim to the shore, keeping her above the water. Except right then, bad luck struck. Izumi felt cramps and started getting dragged by the current. Nekozaki, seeing the scene, encouraged Shikimori to show the bikini and jump into the water, but Inuzuka noticed that Izumi had disappeared. The group went into despair, looking for him. The little girl, now safe, cried out calling for Izumi, and Nekozaki was at a loss. Shikimori, without hesitation, took off her shirt and dove in. In the deep water, Izumi was beginning to lose consciousness, thinking he wouldn't escape this time. But Shikimori, as always, had other plans. She pulled him up and brought him back safely. Already on the shore, she scolded him for not calling out to her. But when he apologized, her look softened, and the anger evaporated. The crew ran over to help, relieved, and behind them came the little girl with her mother, thanking Izumi for saving her daughter. He tried to calm the two of them down, and the little girl gave him a kiss on the cheek, leaving Shikimori with disguised jealousy. Once the scare had passed, the fun continued, with everyone throwing themselves into the water, looking for fish and laughing out loud. Izumi noticed Shikimori's cute bikini and, feeling his heart race, could only say that she looked beautiful, holding back any bigger impulse. Later, they went to a nearby market to buy dry clothes. At the ice cream shop, Izumi and Shikimori got their ice creams first. She offered him a bite of hers, and when he accepted, the two felt a spark, imagining something more spicy. Shikimori tried to return the favor, but before she could, Inuzuka appeared out of nowhere and took a giant bite of Izumi's ice cream, leaving the two of them jaw-dropped. Shikimori, to get revenge, stuck her spoon into Inuzuka's ice cream and swallowed a huge chunk, almost freezing her brain. The teasing turned into an ice cream war, while Izumi was left with nothing, just watching. Hours later at the station, they caught an empty train. Sitting side by side, Izumi and Shikimori exchanged glances, happy to be together, even after a day full of ups and downs. On the train, the group's excitement about the day at the river filled the air, but little by little, fatigue hit. and everyone fell asleep, except for Kamiya, who stayed awake, lost in her own thoughts. Shikimori, fighting not to sleep, ended up resting her head on Izumi's shoulder, which made his heart jump. To distract himself, he started remembering the amazing day with his friends, a moment he'd keep forever. Despite the bad luck that always chased him, Izumi felt lucky to have such cool friends and a girlfriend with protagonist armor like Shikimori. Hours later, he also fell asleep, and Shikimori, when she woke up, gently pulled his head onto her shoulder, returning the affection so he could rest. Days after the river hangout, Izumi's bad luck took its toll. He got a nasty case of heat stroke and was bedridden. Shikimori called to cheer him up, and while they were talking, Izumi saw on TV a news segment about a fireworks festival that was coming up. Excited, he said he wanted to go with her, and Shikimori, without even hesitating, agreed right away. On the day of the festival, Izumi's parents helped him put on the yukata. Moko, his mother, felt a slight pang of jealousy, saying the fireworks reminded her of her youth. When Izumi mentioned that Shikimori had never seen fireworks, Akisada, his father, with a deep and serious voice, revealed a secret place to watch the show, far from the crowd, perfect for a moment alone. Izumi, curious, asked how he knew that, and Moko laughed, saying Akisada took her there when they were trying to make Izumi. Meanwhile, at Shikimori's house, she struggled to put on the kimono for the first time. Her brother Fuji heard the fuss and went to help. He made her look beautiful, but before leaving, he teased her by calling her ugly, which made Shikimori huff with anger. Izumi arrived at the festival first, prepared with several wallets after the fiasco of their last date. Shortly after, Shikimori showed up, stunning in the kimono. The two looked at each other, admiring one another, and entered the festival hand in hand. They explored the stalls, enjoying every moment. Izumi bought cotton candy, but found it odd when Shikimori didn't get one. She explained she'd never been a fan of sweets, which made Izumi remember all the times he'd taken her for ice cream or desserts. But she, with a little smile, said that because of him and his way of enjoying sweets, she had started to like them too, and took a bite of his cotton candy. Then, they went to a shooting game with prizes. Izumi aimed at a stuffed animal that looked like a dog. The stall owner teased, telling him to show off for his girlfriend, but Izumi's bad luck spoke louder, and he missed every shot, left looking silly. Shikimori asked to try, and the stall owner, underestimating her for being a girl, laughed. She ignored him, aimed calmly, and hit every target, as if she were an elite sharpshooter. The stall owner was left slack-jawed, handed over the prize, and Shikimori, with a smile, gave the plushie to Izumi, telling him to keep it to remember her. The gesture left Izumi and the stall owner speechless. At the festival, Inuzuka, Nekozaki, and Kamiya were having fun too. When they found Izumi and Shikimori, the girls surrounded Shikimori, praising her kimono. Seeing the whole crew, Inuzuka suggested a fish scooping game, but turned it into a competition. At the stall, Inuzuka faced Izumi. His friend caught a fish quickly, but Izumi, of course, dropped the net in the water out of pure bad luck. Shikimori, not wanting to see her boyfriend lose face, joined the game, but Inuzuka beat her easily, since she didn't have the patience or reflexes for that kind of thing. Nekozaki and Kamiya warned that the fireworks were about to start, and Kamiya told Shikimori to stop wasting time and go enjoy it with Izumi. The couple headed to the spot for the show, and Izumi planned to take Shikimori to that secret place his father had suggested. But on the way, Shikimori's sandal broke. He fixed the strap, but her feet were hurt, making it hard to walk. She asked what his plans were, and Izumi, a bit hesitant, revealed the secret place, perfect for couples. Shikimori got excited and wanted to go right away, but Izumi refused to let her walk in pain. Disheartened, she suggested they come back the following year, but Izumi had a better idea. He crouched down and asked her to get on his back. Shikimori, afraid she'd be too heavy, hesitated, but he insisted, saying he wanted to carry her. Carefully, she climbed on, and despite the initial effort, Izumi managed. The fireworks began, and they admired the colors exploding in the sky, but Izumi kept going toward the secret place. They reached a long staircase, and Shikimori, worried, said he didn't need to push himself. But Izumi, determined, kept climbing, saying he was doing it to see her real smile. Finally, they reached the top, a quiet place with an incredible view. Izumi set her down on a bench, and together they watched the fireworks light up the sky. Shikimori apologized for making him carry her, afraid he'd think she was less cute, but Izumi, with all his awkward charm, said that even on her worst day, she was still more beautiful than any girl in the world. The colors of the fireworks were still shining in Izumi's eyes when he, heart in hand, confessed that he was afraid Shikimori would see him as a failure. He revealed that, the previous year, he hadn't invited her to the festival because of that fear. Without him knowing, Shikimori admitted, in a soft tone, that she had waited for an invitation from him at the time, but that it didn't matter anymore. "Now I'm here with you, enjoying the fireworks, and that's all I wanted. Thank you for today," she said, with a smile that made Izumi's heart race. When the show ended, he tried to carry her again, but, of course, he slipped. Before the two of them could fall, Akisada appeared out of nowhere and caught them, with Moko right behind. Surprised, they asked what his parents were doing there. Moko, with a little grin, revealed they had been following the lovebirds from afar the whole time. Akisada, with his fatherly strength, carried the two of them on his shoulders and offered them a ride home. Izumi and Shikimori thanked him for showing them such a special place, and the night ended with the four of them laughing on the way back. After summer vacation, the new school term began, and the crew threw themselves into preparations for the cultural festival. Izumi was assigned to the costume team, working with Kamiya and other girls to sew outfits. Meanwhile, Shikimori was in the decoration group, laughing and having fun with the others. Izumi, seeing her excitement, felt a pang of jealousy. At the same time, one of the girls asked Izumi for help, and Shikimori, from the other side of the courtyard, shot a glare so piercing it looked like she wanted to stab the girl with her eyes. Inuzuka, who was passing by, noticed the scene and thought, "This girl is possessed." Days later, the cultural festival kicked off in full swing. On the morning of the first day, Izumi passed through the school gate and received a card with the number 44. He immediately thought it was an unlucky number, but swallowed the complaint. He was even more surprised to see that the school was repeating the couple numbers game from last year. In their classroom, the crew set up an animal-themed cafe with everyone wearing costumes. Izumi wore a lion outfit and tried to get hyped, but his friends quickly teased him, saying he looked clumsier than usual. That's when Shikimori showed up, a bit shy in a bunny girl uniform. Izumi, not wasting time, said she looked delicious, which made her face blush but lifted the mood right away. She returned the compliment saying he looked really cool, and the two burst into laughter. As the festival got busier, everyone went to take care of their tasks. Izumi took on the role of waiter, but of course his bad luck didn't take a break. While carrying food to a table, someone dropped a napkin on the way, and Izumi slipped. Before he could crash, Shikimori appeared like a heroine and caught him, drawing applause from the crowd. Once again, she was his savior. On the second day, Izumi was assigned to library duty. On the way, he hoped his partner would be someone from the same grade, since spending 3 hours with a stranger would be awkward. When he arrived, he came face to face with Kamiya and sighed in relief, saying it was nice to be with someone he knew. While organizing the books on the shelves, Izumi started making conversation, recalling how they met. Last year, the two of them had also been paired up for library duty. He already knew who she was, not just because of the committee, but because Kamiya was the star of the volleyball team and studied in the classroom next door. At the time, Izumi got nervous just talking to her, but Kamiya, with her calm way, made everything easier. They kept chatting, and Izumi asked what her class was doing for the festival. She said they had also set up a cafe, just like his class. He joked that her class must be suffering without her presence, and Kamiya confirmed, laughing, that some people had even cried when she left the day before. Izumi remembered how popular she was with the younger students during the sports tournament. Kamiya sighed, saying that the chaos of popularity made her value the peace of the library. Months earlier, the first time Izumi walked into the library for duty, he had been a bundle of nerves and ended up hitting his head on a desk. Kamiya calmly told him to relax, saying they were from the same grade. He confessed it was just anxiety because it was his first time on duty, and she patiently showed him how everything worked, and that's how they started becoming friends. Back in the present, Kamiya said she thought Izumi seemed different now. When he asked what she meant, she teased, with a little smile, that maybe it was because of his girlfriend. Izumi was shocked, asking how she knew. Kamiya laid back, said Nekozaki had told her. Suddenly she became chattier than usual, making Izumi suspicious. Out of nowhere, she asked how he and Shikimori had started dating. He wanted to know why the curiosity, and she said it was just interest, since she didn't talk much about relationships and wanted to hear their story. When Izumi hesitated, Kamiya leaned closer, pinning him against a shelf, and bluntly said, "I'm interested in Shikimori." Izumi was left speechless, wondering for a second if she meant something along the lines of scissor love. Meanwhile, in another part of the school, the list of couple numbers was posted on the bulletin board, causing an uproar among the students. "Guys, Kamiya is totally itching to scissor Izumi's girlfriend. and she even said she wants to cheat him to his face. I'm dying to see where this is going. If you also want to know, drop it in the comments because I'll bring the continuation of this story that's getting better and better. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.